Today it's about advancing from the small fruit of the past. Look at the initial verse. Continually abiding peacefully in the fruit of the small vehicle, they had not yet aspired to attain Buddhahood. So this is the part that what I mean by aspired, that is the aspirational vows. And that's why when we walk on the Bodhisattva path, we have to uphold the 4 Bodhisattva vows. And that those vows, the 4 of them, although they're basic, they are the ones that take you through into the mind continuum beyond this life. But now hearing his skillful means of analogies, they had awakened to the Buddha mind and opened up to the Buddha's understanding and the views. And that is the part about the hindrance of the mind and why the mind need to open up, because that's only when they will be able to accept and have faith in the path. Quite honestly, when I first encountered the 4 Bodhisattva vows and digging into heart, it was quite should I say, a daunting thought, because if you really delve down and contemplate on those vows, it is a very, very immense vow that we need to undertake. So now they had faith that they themselves could attain Buddhahood. So in them arose great joy and mind and faith and understanding. That was part I was trying to say, because then taking that particular vow requires great faith. Not only that, understanding what exactly does it mean. So there's a lot of depth in those 4 vows. So much explanation. Upon reflection, the hearers realized that in the past, they have been abiding peacefully in the fruit of small vehicle and only seeking to awaken themselves. And obviously at that time, we also need to understand that unlike now, we already know the Bodhisattva path and what it means. But at that time, imagine, or at least one has listened to all the teachings that haven't revealed the Bodhisattva path yet. So therefore, it's, should I say, not easy to really understand beyond the spiritual horizon at a particular point in time. So as Buddhas said, there is delusion and suffering in life because of afflictions and ignorance. Only by eliminating away affliction can we return to a true intrinsic Tathagata nature, or the pure nature that we have. So, so this spiritual practice that at that time obviously had not yet aspired to attain Buddhahood, because that's like the enlightenment, as Master had mentioned. There are 4 stages of enlightenment, and the Arahathood is only the first stage. The second stage is a Jika Buddha, or the solitary realizes, and the 3rd level is only Bodhisattva, and that's where the entry in the Buddhahood is. So why did the Buddha give such complicated teaching with so many analogies? And that's obviously because at that point in time, the mindset is such that because he hasn't reviewed that and has, I mean, it's like climbing up a stairs. One have to go through various steps, and he saw the affliction of the mind, open up the mind. So that's the reason why I have to use analogy. But that's not just about that period of time, and even in the current period that we are facing right now, because the mind is afflicted. And even I will remember I had a discussion with one of my friends in Singapore. She is obviously in the Mahayana practice. And one of the things that she told me, although I must say that she was a very, very diligent practitioner, and she told me that that aspiration of holding the Bodhisattva, that in the service, she find it very, very difficult. So I will come to this part about the period of teachings in the next page. So the lessons learned. The 4 had realized the fruits of arhatship early on, and only a few years after Buddhas attained enlightenment. So this, for someone who attained arhatship, was obviously someone who has practiced in the past. So, like, for example, even today, is it easy to find arahats in living amongst us? So those, you may know that recently there is one, he is only 5 years old, and he told the mother that he's only coming back to return, and this was the only lifetime that he's coming back. So, and he was actually ordained as under the Sangha community age of 5, and this is a recent case. And obviously, for those who ordained as into the Sangha community, you must have at least 7 years old. But obviously, the boy is special, and he told the parents to also be in the Dharma, and which they did. So, so that stage of Arahathood, there are 4 stages, if you remember what Master said before. So for one who has only one more lifetime to return, or once a returner, Sankaragami. So in the Agama period, the Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths. This is the 5 periods of teaching, right? So the Agama period, before the Agama period, Avatamsaka, they spoke about enlightenment. They were invisible beings who were listening to the teaching. Then after that was the Agama period. Then during the Vaipuya period, these teachings on existence turned into teachings on emptiness, and turned into emptiness after the Vaipuya period. Then the Prajna period. So Vatamsaka, Agama, Vaipuya, then Prajna period, with the Dharma about emptiness and true emptiness. So all these tags, aside from the Avatamsaka Sutra, which is from the beginning, the Vaipuya, Agama, Vaipuya, and Prajna sutras, as the Buddha gave these teachings, he entered the Dharma of one reality of attaining great nirvana, which is a great enlightenment, was contained in them. So these were the steps. So the ultimate step to climb into, which is the Lotus Sutra, of course, or the Bodhisattva path. So at that time, the 4 great disciples mistakenly believed they were like the Buddha and also attained nirvana. So nirvana means cessation, but extinguish everything and no longer transmigrate, both and that. But as I said before, there was a stage of enlightenment at that point in time. Obviously, having that the nirvana or the enlightenment that wasn't well understood, and that's why when Buddha first propounded Avatamsaka Sutra, people, for ordinary minds, even the hearers, they have difficult understanding. Even the invisible beings, they themselves, some of them will already have the early stages of enlightenment, a difficulty in understanding. So the Buddha was no longer led by karmic forces. So they not yet understand the Buddha returned to this world with his forms. So I try to come up with a contemplation, trying to illustrate this teaching, and I hope I can get this through. It's a little bit, should I say, maybe a little bit abstract, but I will try to explain. The sun selflessly burns itself to brighten the world. And so this line is easy to understand. Its light selflessly serves all without exception. Now, if that's the case, the sun helps to help to nourish our food and our body. So when you are in the downward of the light, the companion moon reflects the light. So if that's the case, the sun is in the Bodhisattva practice. Now I'll come to this, and this is what I'm trying to talk about. So with peace within, you practice in day and night, knowing well that the light of the truth is always within you, and the divine is guiding you with love. So, do you know that? You already heard Master also spoke in the past about Bodhisattva, about the sun and the moon, and there's a lot of significance to that. So when we understand, try to practice our path, we need to look at what is it that we can learn from nature. Do you know that you can question me as to how can the sun be a Bodhisattva? But I'm not saying that it's in a Bodhisattva practice. But if you go to Mahayana temple, if you go there, visit next time, and you observe if you ever see a temple where there is Vaisaya Guru Buddha. Vaisaya Guru Buddha is the medicine Buddha or Yoksifa. And you know And all the Buddhas will always come with two acolytes. Acolytes are the two companions, right? The left and the right. And you observe carefully that two bodhisattvas will always stand beside the Buddha, whether it's Sakyamuni Buddha, whether it's Amitabha Buddha, or other Buddhas. Then Bodhisattva Guru Bala will have two bodhisattvas standing left and right. The left is the sun bodhisattva, the right is the moon bodhisattva. Okay, so even in the early religion, way before Buddhism, and one of the early religions called Zoroastrian. Zoroastrian is practiced in the early times, early civilization. What we know is known as Iran today, and Zoroastrian worship the sun, and they believe in called the sun god. And so there's an early region, as you know about the sun. So there's a reason for this, and this is reason why I shared this. And even in our practice, you can learn from the selflessness of the sun. So on relationship, conflicts and harmony in relationship, this is the bodhisattva path, a path that puts you through training of conflicts. It's not because of conflicts. If the lotus can go through the mud without conflicts, then how can we grow in harmony? And that's where we can learn. So difficulties that happen to us for a reason is to teach us how we can grow out of that. It's only when we grow out of the mud that the lotus can blossom. Okay, Kanan, thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Brother Chin. Yeah, we celebrate Master's 84th birthday today and the Tzu Chi's 55th anniversary. Okay, let us take a good photo before Brother Chin and Sister Kaping